What's up, you guys? Sean Ross Sapp. It is May 2nd, 2022. This is Fightful Wrestling. This is our post-Raw review. Denise is on another assignment tonight. Thank God.
Wait, hold on. When you say on assignment, sometimes that means they were suspended.
Well, there you go. Instead, we got a real Hollywood star, a real television star.
Yeah.
He once burned alive on Spike TV. We have Jeff Hawkins.
That's true.
Here.
That's very no. It wasn't me. It was the other guy.
Oh, okay, it was the other guy.
Yeah,
he watched a man burn alive on Spike TV.
On 1,000 Ways to Die. Yes. I know a lot of you are disappointed Denise is not here, but let me assure you
that you shouldn't be.
My feet picks are for sale for $20 a piece. So
go.
Just go ahead and PayPal me that.
There you go, guys. Check out our great sponsors, nordvpn.com/Fightful and DraftKings. We've got this great deal with the DraftKings Sportsbook right now. Download that app. Use the promo code FIGHTFUL. Throw down $5 on any UFC 274 fighter to win. Get $150 in free bets if they do win. That's code FIGHTFUL this Saturday at DraftKings Sportsbook, the official sports betting partner of the UFC, and now Fightful. Minimum age and eligibility restrictions apply. You can see our show notes for details. And check it out, guys. They've made a nice investment in us, as has nordvpn.com/Fightful. But you know what? You can make more an investment in us. Like what more do you have to spend money on than Fightful? That's what I want to know. What in your life,
ladies and gentlemen, good afternoon
news?
To you all for this T20
because
between the Night Riders
of a great way to spend
Delhi.
$5, and that's FightfulSelect.com.
I'm Michael Slater, and this is Mel Jones.
Everybody's saying Denise
G'day,
is actually wearing makeup
Whenever these
tonight,
two sides
which I
meet,
appreciate.
It's always a close encounter. Well, the good news
I like
is
the Alex and Kate look different.
Out to the middle now. It's time for the coin toss.
But FightfulSelect.com, today we broke the news that Roderick Strong had asked for his WWE release. We have a lot more details there. Needless to say, today, several of our reports. First off, there was a fake Raw rundown going around, and a lot of people
probably
that were
would
like,
have chosen to
"Oh,
bowl
well,
on
the
this
Roderick
pitch,
Strong thing
but
is
I can
already
understand
resolved."
wanting to have the runs
Read the
on the
report
board.
on Fightful Select. But Jeff Hawkins, I did a breaking news podcast on it, adding a whole lot of details over on Select.
And we're just
What were
about
your thoughts
ready.
when you heard
Time for the
Roderick
first
Strong
ball.
had asked for his release?
Least surprising news ever, possibly. I think too many people jumped down your throat for the notable wording in the tweet. I'm like, come on, guys. It is notable because he is a star on the Indies, and since the Indies are now back.
ROH World Champion, ROH Tag Champion. Oh, by the way, an NXT Triple Crown Champion. Maybe a member of the greatest stable in the history of that brand.
Yep.
And, hey, what are those other guys doing right now? They're getting ready to feud with the Young Bucks and Kenny Omega when he comes back. And that's going to be a big match.
Yeah, I thought it was an odd showing that he re-signed relatively late into the other guys' contracts. I remember that
way to
news
start the
breaking in
innings.
2021 and going, well, that seems odd. He must be very, very happy there. But I believe Marina was still under contract at the time as well.
Had pitched her to join Diamond Mine with him.
Yes.
So, I mean, not only that, look back at the original pitch for Diamond Mine. It was Malcolm Bivens, Tyler Rust, Hideki Suzuki, Arturo Ruas, Marina, and Roddy. Roddy's still there. That's it.
Well, he does be the last man standing of all the stables he joins, too.
There you go.
There's somebody who had a
runs
picture of
added in
like
that over.
all four stables he was in his time.
Yes.
And they're all
Going with pace now.
Well, guys, check out FightfulSelect.com on Tuesday. The Backstage Report podcast will be going up on Tuesday. But also
Great
I'll have some
delivery to
AEW
find
video
the
game
edge.
news. And how about, without giving away too much, some notable pay-per-view location news.
Notable.
Shout for an LBW.
Let me tell you,
Not sure the
there will be a
captain is
lot of
convinced,
people
though.
that will
I
be
think he might
interested
be
in this
right.
pay-per-view location. Just depending on what just based on what the pay-per-view is. But I don't want anybody to scoop me.
One
so
run there.
FightfulSelect.com. Please subscribe. I hopped on Alex and Kate's Sour Graps episode last night. I've given them the green light to just go live whenever. I'll be going live
Big
more
appeal
often
there.
as well. Today I threw in a breaking news podcast. So check it out. Lots of good stuff. Got some Impact Return news this week, in addition to some other stuff. But AEW video game. news tomorrow, I believe. So check it out. You can also invest in us by donating super chats and humper chats. If you go, what in the heck is a humper chat? Well, that's our Streamlabs PayPal platform. Humperchats.com. You can leave your question or statement.
Big appeal. Was there a noise?
We go on the air, kind of like Nerd Guru did, who says, "Who needs a step host anyway? Not us, not us." And Greg House says, "Been ill, so only got to watch last week's show. Sent a number of chats, but if you got missed, is AEW missing Ruby?" By the way, sorry about that. We'll make sure that that our moderator gets those in the future. Is AEW misusing Ruby?
Marsh,
I think they could absolutely use
at the non-strikers end.
Yeah, misusing a lot of people, I think. But it's one of those days where she was so white hot on the debut, and then it was like in like 3 weeks, it was like, okay, Ruby's back and she's gotten beat, and now we're not seeing her on TV anymore.
The keeper with the take.
It was unusual.
So right there.
The realization that it was not Britt's time to lose the title set in pretty quickly.
Yeah.
And I know, and it's probably in retrospect, probably a good decision that they established the TBS title because Jade Cargill is a hit for them. Like,
and they go through for one.
That has proven to be good, but that came
is
at
the new batsman.
Compromise.
It is
of
now
not
out in the
doing
middle.
women's tag team titles, which has affected some other people. I hope at one point they can get there, but every set of women's tag titles that have been established in the States thus far have been snake bitten. I mean, Impact just lost like one of the prime reasons to have Knockouts tag titles. They've got 1 or 2 or 3 teams at any given time. WWE main roster has them. The NXT ones getting set were like the biggest death blow to the main roster
and through
set
for
of titles. I've yet to see a set that are booked effectively and properly.
Well, we had almost tag titles in AEW with those medals for the tournament. I was certain those were going to become de facto titles in some way, and then Evil East gets fired. And so then, but I think more than that is that they're not presenting a lot of women well right now in the vignettes that are supposed to get them over. It's the promos that are going to get you over. And while the Ruby Riott tape promos are fantastic, like whenever they've done a video package type thing with her,
good precision with a
she's
throw
been
back from
awesome
the deep
in it. The problem is these things like what they've been doing every week with Toni Storm and Britt Baker and Jamie Hayter and stuff, which are middling comedy skits, for lack of a better term, and referring to catering. And if I could get every reference to catering gone from professional wrestling, I would. Because it's more talking about the office politics of wrestling than the actual
mistimes that
show.
one.
It's a little too breaking the fourth wall for me, and it never helps in any way.
He also asked if WWE asked Ali to do something, and he said no. Is he in breach? No. Like, he's not in breach for turning down creative. Would Rhea versus Hayter be an all-time great? It could be. It could be a good Haas battle. I would be excited about that.
So close to being
says, not trying to fantasy book anything, but Roddy's one of the missing pieces of the Elite puzzle. Kenny comes back, takes the Bucks back from Cole, and the Elite could get back Hangman on their side and enter Roddy. UE versus Elite, blood and guts. I mean, yeah, it quite literally is the Wednesday Night War having a bow put on it, so to speak. Like Tony Khan even said at a scrum, he was like, Adam Cole was my nightmare. Like, if they put him in a segment against us, it was tough.
This baller knows how to give the ball an almighty tweak. Let's see how they go.
Wrestling history is AEW history, which I appreciate, but there's absolutely a spot for Roddy Strong in AEW, and I think that's probably the primary reason why WWE doesn't want to let him go.
True. And you have other possibilities, too. You could always do the Mount Rushmore 2.0 if you wanted to, with Cole, Roddy, and the Bucks, if you wanted to do that kind of switch up there. But, you know, I think they're going to go for the mean. I think it's going to be what we expect it to be, as opposed, because I always thought it would be kind of interesting, you know, to kind of swerve everybody and get Kenny and Red Dragon against Cole.
Very nice throw back there.
I thought that would have been
Good
a thing, but everybody wants what they want, and I understand it. So I think, yeah, it'll be cool, and I think that pop for when Roddy comes out will be awesome if he does a run-in and ruins it for somebody.
Make sure to subscribe to FightfulSelect.com, guys. I have that news, a ton behind it. what I heard from WWE sources about
Well, some very good fielding has created a chance out of nowhere.
Some
Great
things
work.
that were pitched to Roddy Strong that maybe he passed on,
new
and some things that were,
batsman
I don't want to
will
say
be down at the
promised, but
non-strikers end.
implied last year. I mean, it was just last June, I think, that I reported. Yeah, WWE wants to put some juice into this cruiserweight title. That didn't work out. That didn't work out at all. But I went into detail on a 20-minute breaking news podcast. So I hope you guys enjoy it. Leave a thumbs up on this video, though. Let's talk Monday Night Raw. Right before this show, the only thing on the preview was the Bloodline takeover. And they did. They were there for about 20 minutes. They hit the bricks, Jeff.
No
15
shot
of that was the entrance.
That was the entrance.
That one missed
RK
everything
Bro
and then
slide
some.
in, hit some RKOs. Drew McIntyre comes out and looks imposing.
Shouts
So
all round.
I've got a problem with the booking of this for Backlash. They scheduled, first off, they put both titles on Roman Reigns, and I knew they were going to do this. I think this was the concern I raised on our WrestleMania post show. I said, here is my concern, that they put both titles on one guy and they minimize the stakes.
Yes.
And that's exactly what they did.
What a
They've got
delivery.
so
Finds
few
the edge.
things that are
Good bowling here.
on
The
this
Doctor
show
putting the
now,
pressure right
and
on.
a whole bunch of WrestleMania retread. I get it. The name is WrestleMania Backlash. But Jeff, I got people
Huge appeal.
that are so brainwashed and in my
This is
mentions
an
saying,
important
oh, well,
wicket
you want to save
and
it
out
for a bigger
cheaply.
show. What the hell have we gotten to, Jeff? We have, keep in mind, a billion-dollar TV show right now that traditionally was used to sell
Yada
pay-per-views.
has their first
Now,
ball to
I
face
got
here.
people telling me the pay-per-views are being used to sell bigger
That's
pay-per-views
what the
down the
crowd have
line.
come to
Just
see.
because Nick Khan
Nicely
is a
played.
smart guy, and he says, you know what? If we say we're doing a stadium, we might just be able to sell it out on the fact that we're doing a stadium. And you know what? They've done pretty good about that so far. But save it for what? Back in my day, Jeff,
They'll
you were
get
doing
one
Rock
more.
Austin 2. You were doing Benoit HBK Triple H 2. You were.
You want to get back to my day where the Bash and the
doubt
and
the umpire's
Starcade,
going to have a
and
second
that was
look.
it. Those were the big shows you had.
August or April pay-per-views, which this effectively is. This serves as their first WrestleMania, post-WrestleMania pay-per-view. We're talking Shawn Michaels Diesel, good friends, better enemies. For the love of God. Oh, why are people sitting here saying, well, you know, you got to save it for.
Yeah, they've gotten brainwashed by the number of big pay-per-views because the pay-per-views don't matter all that much anymore, to be honest with you. And I liked this when the tag team unification was there because at least there were stakes that mattered to me. Yeah. And this Bloodline story hasn't progressed in almost a year. I mean, it's just been them coming. Like, here's the thing:
The batsman
they
will want to
have
get the
power,
strike turning over
but
here.
They never make use of this power to solidify their position and take more power. It's just the Bloodline's here. They got titles. There you go. Here's your props. And
Skysin says bigger show. They booked this show.
Exactly.
It is as
This time,
important
that
as
one.
they tell
They
you.
need to be
it
careful
is.
not to go
Here's
after the wrong
other
ball
issue.
here.
They can't- I
These
think
dots
they
are
can't
building the
decide
pressure.
who's going to beat Roman. I really think they're having a problem right now, and so they can't build that feud with any amount of heat. So we're doing this kind of stalling and doing things a little bit half-assed type of approach. Now, go ahead.
I mean, I could see Drew taking the title, but I got people saying, oh, well, Drew versus Tyson Fury.
Loud appeal.
Guys, Tyson Fury's an undefeated boxer. He's not losing that match. He's not losing a match.
No.
He's not going to lose a pro wrestling match. He's not going to do that. No way. It ain't going to happen.
Yeah.
JW Pringle says this was a go-home show. Oh, yeah, we don't do that.
Yeah. It was a go-home show where they really didn't go home all that
They
much.
take
They
a
didn't give you
single.
the hard sell at all.
This was so like, and people will say, "Oh well, it's been like this for." No, it hasn't.
Short
I
ball,
will
hit
never
away.
share your apathy for how little things matter. I want things to matter as much as possible. Again, billion-dollar TV deal. I would be making things matter as much as possible. I'd be making that damn 24/7 title mean
Good
something,
effort.
or at least
4
be
runs.
entertaining along the way. Like, I can't for the life of me understand it.
Let me talk a little bit about this segment too, because it tries me to. Corey Graves comes out and goes, "The forecast calls for bedlam." Now look, Sean.
Another run
Sean,
added.
I was a writer for a number of years. I wrote actual television and things like that. I was a fairly good comedy writer also back in my day. The proper line is the forecast calls for pain. Why? Because pain rhymes with rain, and that's what you forecast.
Well, pardon me, but were you a meteorologist?
The batsmen have been kept relatively
LA
quiet here.
meteorologist
Another
is
good
like
over
Chicks
comes
Who
to an
Can't Get
end.
Acting gig. So
There
it's,
you
it,
go.
it doesn't. I loved the RKO spot. I did. I loved it. But then,
Great delivery to find the edge.
then Byron Saxton puts the button on the segment by going, "They're plugging." They said, "Man, it's gonna. This was chaos. Just imagine the
Another
chaos
dot
that's
ball,
gonna happen at
keeping it
WrestleMania
quiet.
Backlash."
Oh,
It's a standard 6-man tag with no stipulation. It's not a tornado match. It's not a pins count anywhere. Falls count anywhere. Sorry,
you know what this
whatever.
belongs on? It belongs
Two
in
run.
Saturday night's main event. That's what it belongs on.
Yeah.
Or the go home show.
This is a go-home show match,
this-
if I ever heard one.
Yes, this is a go home show match. That's what it is. With no stakes. You're going to tell me that not only
And they get a single there.
is it a good idea for Roman Reigns to not defend it? They're saying, well, it makes it more special. The guy never wrestles on TV.
That's not the length to bowl.
It's already
Far too
special
short.
when he wrestles. That's the point.
Yeah.
Tom says, have Drew beat Roman at Money in the Bank or Survivor Series and Gunther versus Drew at the UK pay-per-view. I don't hate that idea at all. I like it an
Huge
awful
wicket.
lot. I wish
The
more
batsman
people would
has
send
been in
great ideas
impressive
like this
form
as well
lately,
on Super
and
Chat
this
about
is
Raw.
massive
That
for
much
the
I know
fielding
about,
side.
but I love Gunther and Drew at the UK pay-per-view. And like Drew wins it at some point, and Reigns even.
Khan
I would
is
love
the
Reigns
new man at the
to want
non-strikers
an
end.
opportunity at it back, and Gunther's like, no, it's mine. Create a little friction there too. Give me as many variables as possible. But
I like having multiple people who have a claim to the title. That's how you get good elimination
Another dot
chambers
ball.
and things like that. I mean, I still think Tyson Fury and Drew are somehow involved at that thing.
me
Maybe
too.
maybe
Didn't
Tyson
like the
Fury
look of
comes
that
out,
one.
knocks out
No
Drew,
shot off
and
him.
then they do.
Oh,
Because
I
you know
think-
Tyson Fury loves the Saudi money, so
Yeah, I could see Drew and Tyson Fury having a wrestling match, it going to a draw or a double DQ, and then they team up in Saudi. That's what I think could happen.
on this show, by the way, we start out with the whole vignette here. For
They
a
get
six-man
back for
tag.
two.
We then go into a backstage sketch, plugging a 6-man tag that goes into a 6-man tag, that then bleeds into a vignette
That's
to,
some
to
good
set up
bowling.
a
End of the
6-woman
over.
tag. This whole first hour was lazy as hell.
Yes, it was. So backstage, you got Ezekiel and the Street
Big
Profits.
shout for that one.
Ezekiel sitting sideways before his match. This was all right. Kevin Owens just makes all this tolerable.
Kevin Owens and Sami Zayn are the best exasperated comedic straight men in wrestling.
And a
match.
single
Seth
taken.
is very good as well.
Khan
But
ready to
Kevin
face
Owens
their first
playing
ball.
Frank Grimes of the WWE and just being exasperated by that. People don't see that this is Ezekiel. Now, I have a question for you. Number one, Ezekiel looks like Elias'
He's
older
trapped
brother,
in front
I
there.
think. If the rumors are true,
Well, the
that
captain
they
wants to review
changed
this.
his look because he looked too much like Randy
That's
Savage.
what I heard. I heard he showed up in his trunks and they had like stars on him, and he got some reference photos taken. And Vince said, "You look too much like Randy Savage." I don't know if he said you, but he said he looks too much like Randy Savage. That was it for his beard.
So we get the Ultimate Warrior cosplay instead. And he
So-
doesn't have the charisma. He's the
Looks
Ultimate
like the
Warrior.
original call was a good one. Pitching outside the
Hold on.
line.
He should be the
Impact
ultimate-
is
Shake a
outside the
rope
line
like
of the
this.
stumps. The
He
decision is
should be
upheld.
the ultimate
the batsman
warrior,
survives.
and he should like be cutting a promo and
Warrior.
and be like, the stars and the
Unsuccessful
moon
with that.
align,
Their
and
final review.
I think I left my toaster on at
The
home.
delivery draws the edge.
Snorrier. He
Good
goes
bowling there.
narcoleptic in the
Another
middle of
dot.
a match.
Oh man. J.K. Schwal says, my God, Jeff Hawkins rules. Well, there you go.
There we go.
Kevin Owens
Got into position well there.
Kevin Owens
Great
is
shot.
wonderful. I love this.
Yes.
But Ezekiel already eating L's, which, I mean, who cares, right? I don't give a damn if he's taking losses. But
You know what he really needs to work on? And this is something that was pointed out to me, and now I can't unsee it.
Another run taken.
It's not that he's a bad wrestler. It's that he doesn't have all the intangibles of a babyface when he's not in the ring. And I was watching him on the outside. You know, his firing up the crowd is just kind of like this a little bit, just kind of doing a come on over and come on my side, guys. Compare that with, say, Oscar, who's always on. No
They
matter
get home
what,
safely.
jumping up and
The
down on
throw
the
going
apron,
to the
cheering
wrong
on
end there.
whoever's in there. Just a little bit more of the performance side. But I'm telling you, this story overall, because of Kevin Owens, is getting over, I think.
I could watch that on
People who like to
replay
be
all
entertained.
day.
like, if
Textbook.
this were 2004, 2005, and Ezekiel Elias is the type of guy that
Perfect
they
technique
love to have back
and
then.
placement.
He's better than Luther Reigns. He's better than Kenzo was. He's better
Yes.
than Rene Dupree or Savon Grenier or the
Heidenreich.
Bastions. Yeah, better than Heidenreich and better than they allowed like Simon Dean to be
Gave a
when he was
few
there.
too many
He
away in
looks
that over.
great. I mean, he's
Yes.
in great shape, and
Looks
that's
incredible.
what wasn't coming through in like the jeans and the Elias gear. But this is like
Yada. Back into the
this is
attack.
like getting a knockoff copy of something. It's like, hey, I got you. I want to go to McDonald's. We have McDonald's at home. I want an Ultimate Warrior. We have an Ultimate Warrior at home. And
One
it's
more to the score.
Ezekiel.
Owens costing Ezekiel the match works.
Yes.
The finish with this and the finish of the main event were a little too similar
Yes.
for me in that sense, but we'll talk about that one later.
Chad Gable was very good in this match, too.
Oh, he's good in general. Like
Yeah.
his part of the lie detector was amazing.
The fielder
like, it
making
was
the wrong
so
choice
good.
with the
And
throw,
the shush
and the
thing is
batsman will be
helping him,
very
even though
thankful.
people like us find it annoying. It's helping him with the audience.
Yes. Because when you're there live,
Yes.
I always say this about Baron
Oh,
Corbin.
picks that one up
When
nicely.
you're at home,
Good
you're
shot.
like, I don't get it. But then when you hear that go away heat at home translates into actual heat in the venue sometimes, and I can get why
And they
Vince
get two.
is behind that curtain going, that's my guy right there. But Terry Allen Jr. says, very soon Roman Reigns will become stale. I mean, Roman's reign, he says. You could argue it is already,
It is,
but
yeah.
at this point, I don't think you beat him, especially for the Universal title.
Nope.
He holds that Universal title
Too added
until
there.
you know the person to take it off of him. The person. That's it. Raphael says, for now, WWE go-home shows are called the stay home or go out and don't watch shows. Well, if you
End of
guys
the
want something
over,
more
8
entertaining,
off it.
myself and Julie Cutler will be here on Tuesday afternoon making
bowler
WWE
knows how to
WrestleMania
give the ball
Backlash
an
predictions.
almighty
Myself
tweak.
and Denise
Let's
will be
see how
here
they go.
Sunday talking about the show.
WrestleMania run it back.
Yeah. So Veer came again all over
2 runs off
Bert
that delivery.
Hansen. I have been told by Luis that he was actually one of Bobby Lashley's sisters in 2018.
Okay.
So glad to see they're doing good. He and Max Caster doing great. I don't want to assume that the gender on this, but they had Bert cut this promo.
Bert.
Was it Bert or Burke?
It was Bert.
Bert? Okay. That's on
You're
Luis. That's on Luis. It's Bert, not Burke.
He might be right. I thought it was Bert.
Who gives a shit?
I agree.
Who gives a shit? But either way.
One run there.
He's talking about the barbecue joint up the street in Greensboro. What do you think?
I'm fine with this because this is so musty and old, and it works. I think squash matches work.
I love it. Yeah.
Now I don't like the pomp and circumstance of bringing the guy in and just for the cheap hometown pop of naming Greensboro and then
Yes.
getting killed. But I like squash matches overall. I think they work. I think if you do them for a number of weeks, they work. If you continue to build, they work. All I want really in my wrestling shows on TV for the build to quote-unquote big pay-per-view event.
2 added.
And someone said, don't ask Jeff about back in his day because he's old. But it worked back then. is squash matches and talking smack. That's
Let's hit the
all I
pad.
really want
Huge
out of
appeal.
wrestling. And for guys to get mad at each other and to have feuds. It's not a hard thing, but
It isn't.
I like Veer. I like Veer a lot. I just don't. They give him a move called the $1 Million Arm, and they never explain the $1 Million Arm story.
And that's the thing. That's the first story you tell with it.
Yes.
And I've said this before. He had very little direction in life. He got baseball thrown at him.
Yeah.
And then he had, oh my God, not only that, he was pretty good at baseball too. Pretty good at baseball.
Hal is the
all
new
things
batsman
considered. Had that
about to
taken away
face his
from
first
him,
ball.
and now he's not going to let this slip through his fingers. But like Seahawk had said, once they got him acting like he's out of land of the lost,
Swing and a miss.
they
The batsman
plucked
misjudging
him out
that
of,
one.
like Jurassic Times or something. Like what the hell are we talking about here?
I think he really needs a second. I do. And not necessarily a character-y second, but someone who's a little bit more straight ahead.
They take a
because
single.
I really don't want to play into the racist angles of this, and I don't know if I really want him to like a Jinder Mahal type, but you know,
I mean,
somebody to speak for him.
Man, there's a
Ends that
story to
over.
be told there. He was, and I mean this, pretty good as a minor league baseball player. Like, he was pretty good. And he got hurt, and things didn't work out. And he took like 2 or 3 years off, came back and had a successful outing a few years later.
And that's a single.
He just had that taken away from him. Like, there's a story to be told there, and they don't tell that.
Yes.
Well,
they
that's a
don't tell
very
the
helpful
stories you
catch.
want them to tell because they think, oh, that'll be heat on us, or that's too easy. People will like him to, or those,
Patel
or, oh, he's
is about to
self-made
face
in
their
another.
first ball.
They'll tell us on NXT about Lash Legend's women's basketball career, or that she played
Shouts all
women's
round.
basketball. But
Why
they
do I
won't
gotta
tell us
hear about them being great at other shit besides wrestling?
Exactly, but they won't say that the guy was great at baseball when that's how he even got on the WWE's radar.
I'd love to hear him be great about wrestling. That's what I
One run there.
personally love. I would love them to go, man, he's a great wrestler. They can't do that, though.
No, he's a great entertainer of sports.
Yes. Punk Rock Show says, great to see Jimmy Van. That's our ass. My
Yeah.
mistake. Got to do.
If I had his bank account, I'd be happier at that joke.
You and me both, bud. Nerd Guru says, WrestleMania rehash, trademark Alex Palowski.
End of a really
Ryan
good over.
says,
Taking a
Jeff,
wicket
your
and
appearances are
really
special
slowing
like
down the
Goldberg.
pace
If
of
you're good at your
scoring
job
here.
and there's never a risk
Cummins
for severe
has
injury
bowled
when
well
you're
so
on
far.
screen.
Returns to the attack.
Risk of injury to me.
You all didn't see Sister LaQuisha.
Oh, Sister,
That's what the crowd have come to see. Nicely
I put a
played.
blanket over myself with a lantern. I had props. Things were falling all over the place. This is why I don't do prop comedy anymore on these shows. Except
3
for
runs.
Ultimate
Look
Warrior,
good between the
obviously.
wickets.
We have the AJ Styles interview, and he says, "Oh, you know what? Damian Priest causes me an awful lot of trouble, so let's do a match. Let's do me versus Damian Priest, and if he loses, he can't be ringside at Backlash." Well, he does lose, and it was a very fun match, I thought. Damian Priest is out there working every single week, and he's doing something new every single
And they
week.
go through for
He
one.
went for this ripcord wheel kick, which I didn't even know was a thing physically most people or anybody could do, much less a guy his size. It didn't hit, but one day I want to see it hit. He's always adding, switching up. I always love seeing something I haven't seen before in wrestling. It's a shame that Damian Priest is involved in such a dog shit storyline. And I don't know. The thing is, I believe Edge is so smart that maybe, and I'm probably giving him too much credit, maybe the
They take
promos
a
are
single.
dog shit by design?
No,
You don't think so?
no.
Because he's out there doing the lowest common denominator stuff.
He's
And I know a
doing
lot,
cheap. He's doing Miz
That was another
promos,
good
but with
over.
more
Yes.
community
Frustration will be
theater
growing for the batsman.
panache to it, to be honest with you. And the funniest thing to me about this whole promo is that he's from Asheville, North Carolina.
And
This
you
is right
got-
up the street from Greensboro.
you've got two of the naturally coolest guys in WWE, and they're like talking about toothless hillbillies
Yeah.
and all that stuff. And I'm like, that is Miz fodder. And over on AEW, it's MJF fodder because he's allowed to take that and say, oh yeah,
And
you're
a single.
incest and all that stuff too. Like he can
he
add
takes
a
it to
little
another
flair
level.
Yes, he can
takes
take it
to a
to
more
another.
cooler level.
Exactly.
Yeah. What do you think about the name Judgment Day?
I think if I hadn't heard it associated with like
Big shout for
WWE
that one.
pay-per-views for so long, I'd probably be like, all right. Terminator 2 is one of my favorite movies ever.
Okay, that's from 92, and this is in the same general neighborhood. What if they had named themselves Judgment Night? And
Good running.
after the
for two.
coolest soundtrack of 1993, man. Maybe
You know
get
what?
some rights to that soundtrack.
I like the idea of them calling themselves Judgment
Good bowling
Night
in that over.
Yeah.
It's familiar but different. You know what I mean?
It's dark. They like coming out to the darkness and stuff like that. Yeah, I was just thinking, man, call themselves Judgment Day, but everything about this is so dark. Just call themselves Judgment Night.
I love this
And they get a
match.
single
AJ
there?
busting out the rack bomb on Priest. Man, that guy. What a hoss AJ is. Like, when Vince looked for his pit bull for years, he really did just, like, happen upon AJ, and he's like, God damn,
And a single taken.
I bet Vince wishes he threw a ton of money at AJ Styles a lot sooner.
AJ's, how tall you figure AJ is?
Probably 5'9", 5'10".
5'9" guy throwing around a guy who's about, what, 6'6", 6'7",
Yeah.
like that? That's just amazing.
He is always impressive. Always impressive. So after this, the natural beatdown happens, and we got Finn Balor. Uh-oh. Bloop. Bloop. Listen, I'm a sucker for Bullet Club. I am. I don't care. I've got this
No shot offered.
unrealistic optimism, Jeff,
That's
that one
just
day
wide.
there's going to be
House
a neat
call, I
little bow put on all this.
Uh-huh.
And that we're going to get like something. Adam Cole says, well, if it were up to me, pal, we'd all just get along and be the greatest faction of all time. I love that answer. It was so funny. And then I'll ask Gallows and Anderson on camera, will that ever happen? And he's like, they'll be like, not as long as Finney is a mark.
Reasonably good over there.
Stuff like that. Not as long as AJ's taking millions of dollars instead of playing for the love of the game. Stuff like that. I love it.
But there's nothing else to do with Finn. I mean, they had that big comeback of his.
The fielder
and they
making
beat
the
him,
wrong
and
choice
they
with a
beat
throw,
him,
and the
they beat him
batsman will be
again.
very thankful.
Give me these two as the club. I'm
Sure.
okay with it. I like it.
Yeah, I'd be okay with that too. It also might,
Big appeal.
AJ's had nothing to do on promos since turning face. So yeah, it might give both of them something to do and something to play off of their shared history. And they've teased it. They teased it when the Good Brothers came back, and nobody ever made mention of it. And they teased it on pay-per-views and the Easter eggs for the nerds and stuff like that. But yeah, pay it off. Why not?
And shout out to Rhapsody host Phil Lindsay. Evan says, I agree with Phil saying this attempt at a Bullet Club reunion is meaningless. Should have
Some
happened
very
years
good
ago.
fielding
Yes,
has created
yeah,
a
it should
chance out
have
of
years
nowhere.
ago.
Great
It
work.
was there on a silver platter. Bullet Club was white hot then, and WWE plucked 3 of the biggest names away.
So the new
and you know
batsman
what?
is at the
Could have
crease.
plucked more away had they booked that effectively. And I think that's a lesson they got to learn and apply
What
to
a
Cody.
delivery.
If
Finds
you
the
want
edge.
to continue plucking talent away from the New
Off the mark
Japans, the
there.
AEWs
Good
of the
shot.
world, you better book Cody well, or just throw so much stupid money that it's worth risking being there 6 months and getting fired because the money is so obscene.
Yeah, I remember there was a pitch for Balor Club at one time, which was him,
David Merchant, yeah.
Corbin and Samoa Joe as that in their NXT run, and then when AJ and the Good Brothers were brought in, it's like, oh, there might be a feud there if that ever comes to fruition. That was always kind of an idea, but WWE doesn't like using intellectual property that has been built in other federations. Yeah. So I mean, because there was when Beloved Horsemen jumped, they were, we can make the Horsemen in WWF. Nope, that's not ever going to happen. So.
Can't make it back against
we'll
some
see
great work in the field.
Like
That's
Les
out.
Boulet Club or something.
Oh
like
man,
that.
I used to really want Reformed Shield. You've got the Club there. You've got Undisputed Era
Well,
there.
the Bowl's
I
doing
wanted
well here to
Samoa Joe
constrain
to be
this turtle.
leading AOP.
Let's see if their batsman can make it count.
That to be a thing, which I guess could still happen.
You like Stable Wars. You like
Oh, I love a good Stable War, man. I love them. KE775 says, think Ciampa joins Edge on Sunday. Perhaps. I mean, they got him working heel tonight and babyface on main event. More on that on FightfulSelect.com. But speaking of,
Not a very
Miz
big
TV
total to
Mustafa
chase,
Ali.
and I suspect this match
His
could
mic
be over
didn't
very
work.
soon.
Do you think this made
could
him
be an
look
embarrassing result.
unnecessarily dorky?
The way he reacted to it made him look unnecessarily dorky.
Okay.
Like he continues to try and talk in a microphone he knows isn't working and hopes that it will work.
Yeah.
He doesn't just
Like-
punch out Miz when he's insulting him. He just stands there and takes it like a dope.
Like
He gets
after
a
the
single,
first reaction
and that's
from
the
Miz,
first run on the board.
you say, okay, the mic doesn't work because you made sure it doesn't work. Not,
Yeah.
is this thing on?
Let me,
Scott.
let me borrow your mic or something like that. Instead of he's holding the same prop
just-
and trying to talk it.
Take it. Take it. People are saying, our ammo army pellet pals.
Pellet Pass is fantastic.
That's great. That's great. So they've got these lines between Miz and Ali. And
Yes. They're a little weighted, aren't they? Just a little bit.
So I like that they're leaning into the fact that
The batsman
Mustafa
had no
Ali
idea what to do with
asked
that.
for his release
Great piece
publicly.
of
I don't got
bowling.
any problem with that. And Mustafa Ali is an artist. He probably doesn't give a shit either. But like Miz is, Miz leans into it super heavy, and it's like, okay,
Yep.
Bud, we already heard
Not
it
getting
twice from
past
you
that
last week.
fielder.
It's not like a big shock that you're
No.
bringing it up this week. So when he does the look like it's a big mic drop moment, like we heard you say it's not that big of a deal. Talk about something else.
There's a bigger problem here, though, Sean, and I've talked to you about this, and they do this all the time.
He's trapped in
Is they
front
get
there.
all their complaints about Ali out in the promo and don't give him a chance to respond to it. Also, in the veil of, remember, in WWE, the company is the babyface.
Yes.
And the people who actively root against any decision that the company makes are the heels, and people who support people who don't want to work
That's
for the
some good
company
bowling.
are
End of the
also
over.
heels. And that's what they were getting at here.
The right arm
In
pace
this
bowler is coming
entire
into the
segment was
attack
that,
from the
oh
north
man,
end.
I've always wanted to work here at WWE, blah, 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 blah. You're ungrateful. You can't, no, I get what you're doing with this movement and stuff, but you're complaining too much when this is everybody's dream, blah, 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 as seen by Burt earlier, So they always do this. They always do these angles of the company is holding
Another
a guy
dot ball,
down,
keeping it
but
quiet.
really that guy is the malcontent, and he needs to be made to love the company. And the company always goes over on the will of the people. Always.
Yep.
Swing and a miss.
I couldn't agree more. It's a formula. But Mustafa
Daniel Bryan, the yes movement. Here
There
it
you
comes.
go.
Yes, yes, yes. He gets the titles. Oh, here comes
Yeah,
Hunter to screw him out of the title.
We've got Mustafa Ali also getting in the line. The only thing worth complaining about is that you still work here. Like, this dialogue just didn't work for me. And like, I've seen him do his own promos. He told me that when he came up to WWE, Vince McMahon was like, just do your thing. We'll edit it to what we need it to be, but I trust your vision. That does not happen with
No.
Vince McMahon.
No.
So I don't know what kind of impression that he made early on to make Vince McMahon go, I trust you, man. Let's get you over with
top
these.
vignettes
Let's run
were
away to the
fantastic.
boundary.
Amazing. I like the one that he tweeted. That so it's so funny because people are like, oh, well, the thing that Vince must have pitched must have been too much like Muhammad Hassan or something. No, I thought the thing that Mustafa Ali tweeted was like if the Muhammad Hassan thing was done in like a more tasteful
They take a
type
single.
of approach. The new America, the face, you're sort of looking yourself in the mirror type of thing, like forcing Americans to confront a lot of the things. Muhammad Hassan actually said it to me. We despise the traits that we often see in ourselves. Like
Yes.
that's what I saw out of that. So I wonder what the hell Vince pitched.
I think it was something similar from what the indications I got. I mean,
Yeah.
not word for word, and not giving into the more terrorist type of things necessarily, but in terms of the America's a melting pot type of thing, but really it's kind of a facade underneath. I can ask for more. I never really dug into it, but the indications I got was it's something very similar.
Well, Austin Theory, well, now it's just Theory came out. We ended up getting a handicap match. And
That's
shocker,
what the crowd have come to see.
they beat him. They should beat
Nicely
him. It's
played.
a 2-on-1 match. If they didn't beat him, I think that would be wrong. I've got no problem with guy who was WWE champion last year and guy who is U.S. champion right now beating Mustafa Ali. If this were the other way around, like if he beat both of them, I would need a creative reason as to why. These two absolutely should be able to beat one guy.
Yes, and without cheating.
Yes.
That's a weird thing, but yeah. I'm hoping that Ezekiel eventually becomes Theory's older brother, educated guess. I think that'd be a nice touch.
Good over. Nice
yeah,
bowling.
I mean, the match was good for what it was. It was, and we expected that's how it would end. It's... Okay, so two guys beat up Ali, and then the third guy comes out to beat him up.
Can't hit
I
it
guess.
more sweetly than that.
It's like, okay, what is Ali going to get out of this? Well, he gets some screen time, and Vince gets to get out his rage against an insubordinate employee, and you're just like, does Ali have any friends in the back? I guess they fired up most of Retribution, so I don't think any of them could come save him.
Well, why isn't T? Well, I guess T-Bar doesn't like him anymore.
T-Bar doesn't like him, and Mace has become a model. They've all moved on with their lives. The band's over now, man. We were a cool
Plays
rock
and
band,
misses.
but we grew up, man. We got married, and here you are, still loving the music.
Guys, reminder, get in your super chats. Get in your humper chats. We are cash poor tonight. You all don't want to talk about Raw.
Yeah.
So Stormin Norman says,
Great fielding.
"Am I
That's a
early or
boundary
blurry
saved."
For listing your boy. Here for Fightful and Juicy for Dynamite in
See,
Baltimore.
they only give money to Denise. That's
They do. Will it be an ROH invasion this Wednesday? I doubt it. I doubt it, friend.
No.
I don't expect that at all.
Let me ask you this.
batsman
since
didn't
we're on
know
this
where
subject,
that
do you
was
think
going.
the ROH stuff is taking attention away from AEW and it's becoming a bit of a distraction?
As of now, no. I think it's just adding some stakes in the interim until they figure out what the hell they're going to do with the brand.
Kept it fairly
I think it's
tight
becoming
in that
like
over.
a long time ago where it's like everybody
This
had a
bowler
belt.
knows how
and
to
it's
give
like,
the ball
and now
an
it's confusing.
almighty
Even
Let's
the
see how they go.
Announcers who are announcing, oh, FTR tag team champions. No, they're not your tag team champions. They're
Yes.
two other promotions tag team champions. So it's gotten a little title heavy with all the ROH stuff.
And that's a
You know
single.
what? That's a fair argument, but I mean, we have not been in a situation where things are this open in like a long ass time. So
Yeah.
and AEW has been exceptional lately about everything has stakes. Everything is like a qualifier or a tournament match or a top contender match or a title match. And AEW is already really good with that because their wins and losses matter. Like losing on that show puts you
Yes.
down the line, which, hey, if any other show did that, it would probably make me more invested. Speaking of, guys, Deonna Purrazzo makes her AEW debut this week. I interviewed her in person in Cincinnati. That drops on Tuesday. Podcast platforms everywhere and youtube.com/Fightful. I also interviewed Moose, who told me that he once met Adam Pac-Man Jones and wanted to punch him in the face the entire time. Also this week, we have not filmed it, so I hesitate to even advertise it, but I'm interviewing
What a
the
delivery.
recently released Persia
Nice.
from NXT 2.0. I usually don't reach out to people and ask them for interviews, but she actually hit us up, said, I'd love to do an interview with you. And I said, thank you for not making me feel like a fucking vulture.
Yadav
Let's
has
do it.
done well in that
So
over.
we're
Delhi
doing that
can now
interview
have
this
5
week.
fielders outside the circle.
Too soon,
Patel,
Sean
the
Ross
left
Sapp.
arm
How
orthodox
dare you? How
bowler,
dare
is
you?
coming
He's
into
in
the
pain
attack
right
from
now.
the north end.
I waited like a month for Buddy Murphy and just like
bowler
nobody
beating them
interviewed
all
him. And
ends
I
up
was just
there.
like, hey man, you want to do an interview? And he's like, yeah man, I'd love to. And I was like, oh shit, okay, cool. Collins on the Rock says, thank you for reviewing this show so I don't have to stay awake for the West Coast showing. Bullet Club and WWE would have been modern, NWO and WCW.
Yes. Except they probably would have won.
They would have started to add people to it, like
No, they would have done the whole
Good
thing that
bowling
they
here.
always
The
do.
Dots are
where it's
putting
like,
the
we're here
pressure
to cause
right on.
chaos. We're here to take over.
Yeah.
And then nobody ever causes chaos or takes over.
the funniest part about Retribution was when they threw a cinder block through a window and it broke, and then they threw another one through the same window. I loved
Take
it.
that.
And like, man, after I
One
saw
more
the
there.
Braun
Get
push,
two.
like, but you better do better at causing some chaos. He was flipping over ambulances and throwing Roman Reigns off of loading docks and
I want to
shit.
see announcers get punched. I want to see
Yeah.
rings get ripped off. Come on.
Yeah, definitely. George says, for Jeff, always tune in when you're on. You and SRS making this raw discussion entertaining is a perfect example of making chicken salad out of chicken shit. You know what?
Needs a direct hit.
Regardless of what they feed us, we got to eat it, whether it's chicken shit or not. But Nikki ASH versus Dana Brooke. So this got some of the most segments in time of anything.
Well, some
we got
very
the
good fielding has created a
interaction.
chance
Reggie
out of nowhere.
and Dana
Great
having
work.
some issues. We got the 24/7
The
crew
new
there.
batsman
You get the
will be down
match.
at the non-strikers
Dana
end.
wins.
The right
I'm just happy
armour
to
is
see
the new
Nikki doing
bowler
anything.
from the
There's
south
a
end.
lot to dissect in this. This branched off a lot of different ways.
Yes.
Very few of them any good, but some of them promising. R-Truth as a divorce lawyer, I am here for.
Doesn't play
Jeff.
that one
I
well.
need a courtroom scene. I need him to be wearing that. I love that he's wearing a tie and no shirt.
Yes.
I don't know why. I just find that funny. Yes. I love that Corey's the one saying
Edged. What a ball.
Yes.
That was a little too on the nose for me. Look, I don't mind a little bit of hilarity and funny in my wrestling and stuff like that. I love Toru Yano. My problem is with the 24/7 stuff. We already have lighthearted stuff with like Kevin Owens and the Alpha Academy,
And that
things
gets
like
to
that.
the
So
boundary.
it doesn't
4
provide a
runs.
necessarily break into something different into comedy, but I think a lot of these people have very good. I think Tamina has some of the best reactions in comedy in terms of wrestling. I think Tozawa is making chicken salad out of it all. I think Reggie is super cool. So I like most of these people that are in these segments, and I think Dana is always game. I think the thing that people have never really given Dana Brooke enough credit for, she's game.
Needs
for
to be on
anything,
target.
and she's pretty good.
One run there.
Carmella has always been like that.
And Carmella too.
Like,
Carmella's fantastic.
I mean, she told me one time that she doesn't ever look at any creative like it's a bad thing. She looks at it as, how can I
Finishes
make
off a
the best
tidy
of
over.
this and show them that
And the
if they give
rain
me
has got
something
really
good,
heavy here, and the
I'll knock that
umpires
out
have
of
ordered the
part two.
And
covers
it's
on.
and I'll tell you
So the
something,
players
it's harder
quickly make their
for
way
pretty
off the
women to do
field.
comedy.
The team just
It really
gelling
is, because
very
people
nicely.
don't take them
It all
serious.
came together and resulted in a crushing victory.
So Nikki doesn't get the win over Dana. Backstage, she's sulking, and Dewdrop's like, all right.
That
ready to get
concludes our
serious? And she's
coverage
like,
of what was
I
a
am.
very one-sided
Thank
encounter.
God.
From Mel,
Yeah,
James,
I'm ready
and
for
myself,
this.
Thanks
I'm ready
for
for this
joining us.
team. They needed a new team, so they'll be title challengers within the month. Because who else, right? Who else?
I have a concern.
Okay.
I think this might be one of those teams that is super serious for a week, and then they play into the big girl, small girl stuff.
Oh, God.
Isn't that wacky? And becomes almost Hurricane. If there's a possibility this becomes Hurricane and Rosie Part 2. That's what frightens me to death. And as I snarkily told one Joel Pearl, who is in the chat here, hey, wouldn't be a bad little 90-day run before the next thing of cuts either. But I like them as a team. I like both performers. And I think the superhero idea was good for Nikki ASH. I think it never got over as it probably should have, because it was a derivative of other things that were better that people remembered. The supervillain thing never worked for her because she's just too damn likable.
Yeah,
And
she's very likable.
Yes. And so I think
Her as a heel is one of my favorite interviews. Like I can count on one hand the number of people I'll interview in character. I'll interview heel Nikki ASH in character all day. She was so fun, but she doesn't get to be that on TV. So
Crazy Nikki was always fun for me. Like,
Sanity is one of the most
Sanity
underrated,
Nikki.
one of the most underrated entrances I've ever seen in my life, with the helicopter sound effects over top and the lights.
And her usage as she wouldn't be wrestling in it for a lot of times, but she'd get involved in like any 6-man they were in as just kind of a crazy person. I thought she was great. Love her as a performer. Love Dewdrop as a performer. Boy, does she need a program, because she's had the one serious program with Becky, but the stuff with Ava Marie died as we said it would. So, I mean, I'm happy to see this. I wouldn't be shocked also if these two form an alliance with Becky Lynch in some way.
I would love that. I would love that. I think that'd be great. KE775 says, I think Nikki and Dewdrop need Alba Fry. Kaylee Ray, that would be great too.
Same kind of thinking. Yeah.
Storm and Norm says, what will it cost to get R-Truth involved at Denise's wedding? I know she doesn't want it, so let's make it happen. I would imagine she wants as little to do with wrestling as possible.
At the moment, the priest says, if there's anyone here who has any objection, Yana. And Denise goes, oh my God, all my nightmares and years of doing wrestling stuff have come to fruition.
Denise is too good for wrestling. We're gonna lose her one day. She really is too good for wrestling. Board Dude,
on the other hand, I'm not.
Me either. Hell, I picked wrestling. I want to be here. I want to be in this shit. Oh man, Board Dude.